Welcome to Business Reporter's The Future of Insurance campaign. I'm Rachel Hicks. By 2050, 90 countries will have an ageing population. Take Singapore as an example. It has one of the world's highest average life expectancy at 83.9 years. By 2030, 1 in 4 will be 65 or older, double from 1 in 8 back in 2015. With people living longer lives, how do we ensure we are well prepared to live out our later years in the best way possible, physically, mentally, and financially? From a broader perspective, what can we expect in the next decade or so? And where do the opportunities lie for insurers to contribute to building a more supportive environment for successful ageing? Today, we've invited Andrew Yeo, CEO of Income Insurance Limited, and Professor Pauline Strahan, Director of Singapore Management University's Centre for Research on Successful Ageing, to get a better idea of what successful ageing really is and how communities and corporates, including insurers, can play a more active role in helping populations age well. In a study by Income and Nielsen IQ, the respondents in Singapore aged between 40 to 65 think that most of their prime years are still ahead of them. What has fueled this optimism?
But there are a few factors that's fueling this optimism. First is having the financial ability to actually do what they like to do. Next is the ability to actually be mentally engaged in both physical activities. And last but not least, having the freedom and time to do what they like to do.
I can't agree with you more, Andrew. I think that we have come a long way in receiving an aging population. Certainly, financial assurance, personally for me, is a big deal. You know, being able to prepare for retirement and not worry that we don't have sufficient to move forward. I think that is singularly one of the big pluses for us here in Singapore.
Other than the affluency in society, the improved healthcare that the society has been receiving, I think has also been fueling this optimism, because I think that has actually contributed to longer longevity, where currently it's about 84. But I'm sure that number will continue to climb.
Income is an advocate of successful ageing. When it comes to financial planning, what else can individuals do to age well in their prime years?
I run a centre, the Centre for Research on Successful Ageing, and at our centre, we focus on 4 important dimensions of ageing: financial, economic preparedness, social well-being, psychological and mental well-being, and physical well-being. So in addition to being financially prepared, we advocate preventive health. Very important, right? To take charge of your health and to be pro-health in all you do, including nutrition, daily activities, exercise, and so forth. We work very, very hard. Most of us spend our daylight hours on paid work, advancing careers, and so forth. Not a bad thing. However, at some point in our lives, we have to prepare for retirement.
I think financial adequacy is definitely a key part of successful aging. And that's why in the survey we also saw that 1 in 2 actually recognize that the financial planning is very important and do recognize they should plan early, right? And most of them felt that they should even plan before they turn 40. And I think for the greater part of the society, most of them will see insurance as more of a protection tool towards unforeseen circumstances, against hefty medical bills. However, the insurance can play a critical part in actually forming part of building up that financial adequacy for successful aging. It's not widely accepted yet. I think it's something that as insurer we should be propagating more, right, towards creating the awareness that insurance can play a key part in building that financial adequacy for successful aging.
So let's imagine that people in Singapore endorse your view and they want to take action. Is the insurance industry ready to offer the right products?
Traditionally, insurers have always looked towards the younger segment as the target market to actually design their products and really reach out to. However, I think that view may be obsoleting, and that's where I think from income's perspective, we are also needing to actually overhaul our mindset in terms of looking at the overall demographic of the society and recognizing that seniors is actually a key segment in which insurers can actually target. And even from the national stats, by 2030, 1 in 3 in Singapore will be over the age of 60. So that, I think, it's a proof point that the senior segment is actually going to be a key segment for insurers. The other thing that the income has actually, in a way, positioned ourselves differently is having very targeted products, specifically for seniors. They are very tailored to specific needs for that particular segment. So we do have products that actually cover for cancer, as for senior only. And we have the highest entry age from 50 to 74 and covers until 84. Right? So that's also probably the highest oldest age in terms of coverage. This cover basically provides coverage for those seniors with pre-existing conditions, as long as you don't have cancer. Right? We all know that as we age, it's normal that we would have pre-existing conditions like high cholesterol, pre-diabetic, right? But as long as you don't have cancer, we will be able to provide that cover for seniors. The other aspect that actually we have actually undertaken is really re-looking at our underwriting guidelines vis-a-vis the traditional guidelines that I mentioned about, which is typically targeted for the young. We have actually reviewed our underwriting guidelines to see how do we lower the barrier entry for seniors, right? By simplifying some of the questions, removing even some of the questions to lower the barrier entry for seniors.
Looking into the next 10 years, when the average age of the population will be higher than today, what can we do to create a more conducive environment in which to age successfully?
From an insurer's perspective, I think there are a few areas that we can definitely look into. I think one of the areas is about medtech. Right? I think insurers can look at it as one form of business adjacencies for ourselves in terms of how we can leverage on technology, IoTs, AIs, and robots to actually help our customers monitor their health as they continue to age. The other area is really in the area of mobile care, where I think in that area we can actually help to manage hospital claims costs, right? Where we look at how can we encourage patients to actually recover in place. Then the other aspect is really about leveraging on data. So we are collecting a lot of data. All insurers are collecting a lot of data. I think what we can do is really look at what the data tells us and how we can hyper-personalize to actually provide, through those insights that we get, provides materials as well as steer our customers towards the pathways towards successful aging.
Yeah, so I'm so glad to hear these developments, because certainly what is fundable will play a big part in shaping everyday life and how we respond, right, to health and illness. So you're right in that when we speak with older respondents, the aspiration is always aging in place at home and never institutional care. If insurance are able to fund aging in place at home, and where caregiving can be done in the comfort of their home and not in a hospital, I think that would certainly be a very, very popular option. So moving forward, I think we've done a lot, but there is still a lot to be done. We have extended life expectancy. Unfortunately, the health-adjusted life expectancy is still lagging behind. So in Singapore, it's about 10 years. So in short, we have 10 years that we've lost, right? That we're losing because of ill health. So one of the things that we want to do is to close the gap between life expectancy and health-adjusted life expectancy. So I think certainly with financial adequacy, a big part of our problem will be addressed. Of course, with good insurance that is focused on proactive health, right, where we take a lot more responsibility in preventive health decisions, then it will also ensure that physical health continues to improve as we grow older. And then with that, then it's, I think, a lot easier then to advance on social well-being and psychological and mental well-being.
All in all, with a greater appreciation and awareness in terms of the ability to age successfully, right? The wish is really about how do we stretch that health-adjusted longevity, right? The one that you mentioned, and try to keep the end as short as possible, right?
That's right.
Because that, in a sense, in a way, will keep the overall healthcare funding, right, in a much more sustainable manner as well.
These were Professor Pauline Strachan and Andrew Yeo.